Silence is a source of great strength, as Lao Tzu once said. But what if your silence is the very thing making her miss you more? Most men believe that when they walk away, she forgets. But if she's quiet, if she seems fine, if she's smiling on social media, it means she's already moved on. But here's the question no one dares to ask. What if the more distant you become, the more haunted she feels by your absence? This video will show you the 12 hidden signs she misses you deeply. Not the obvious ones, but the subtle behaviors most men overlook. Not through sweet words, but through subtle shifts in her actions, her emotions, and her patterns. And we won't be decoding them with drama or desperation, but through the lens of Stoic wisdom. Calm, clear, unshaken. Let's begin. Part 1. She reaches out, but not how you think. There's a strange paradox in the way a woman begins to miss you, not through grand declarations or tearful confessions, but through hesitation. At first, she stands her ground, her pride holds her steady, telling her silence is strength. Not reaching out proves she's over you. She convinces herself she doesn't need to speak, that if she waits long enough, the ink will fade, and you'll be the one to break. But time, like silence, has a way of peeling back the masks we wear. Seneca once said, "Time discovers truth." And the truth is, if she didn't care, she wouldn't be thinking of you at all. But now, her thumb hovers over your name. She rereads old conversations, searching for a reason, a justification, a small door she can knock on without surrendering her pride. She won't say, "I miss you." That would be too exposed, too vulnerable. Instead, she sends a simple message. "This reminded me of you." Or maybe not even a message. Just a like on your old photo. A quick reaction to your story. Small things designed to look casual, but in reality, they are quiet signals sent from a restless mind. This is not affection. This is calculation laced with emotion. It is her way of asking without asking. Are you still there? Have I vanished from your mind? Most men respond too quickly. They see the message and leap. They feel seen again, wanted, needed, and they rush to offer warmth. But that is not strength. That is emotional surrender. As Epictetus reminded us, if you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. In this case, be content to be thought distant. Because when you respond with calm, or not at all, you shift the balance. You force her to confront her own longing. If she truly didn't miss you, she wouldn't have reached out in the first place. But she did. And now, your silence becomes the mirror she cannot look away from. True power lies not in reacting, but in remaining centered. Let her reach, let her wonder. You are not playing games. You are practicing detachment, not to manipulate her emotions, but to master your own. That is the essence of Stoicism, not control over others, but control over yourself. Part 2. Her social media comes alive, but it's not what it seems. It starts suddenly, a new photo, polished smile, a caption about growth or lessons learned. You scroll by, but something feels off. She never used to post this much. Now, it's a story every day, carefully posed shots, words that seem to say everything and nothing at once. And if you look closer, you'll see. It's not joy she's broadcasting. It's a signal. When someone misses you but refuses to admit it, they often take the long road to your attention, public, indirect, and disguised as strength. She won't call, but she'll post. She won't say she misses you, but she'll hope you're watching. Marcus Aurelius once noted, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." If her thoughts were truly free from you, her presence wouldn't revolve around being seen by you. But here she is, glowing, laughing, showing the world that she's unshaken. Yet all of it is designed with one viewer in mind. This is not confidence, it is camouflage. She may post lyrics from heartbreak songs, ambiguous quotes about timing, or smiling selfies next to other men. Not to move on, but to provoke you, to awaken a reaction. But the Stoic mind knows better. Reaction is not power, it is surrender. The more you do not respond, the more your silence grows, the more her performance must escalate. She's trying to reclaim the upper hand, but she doesn't realize every action aimed at making you look affirms you are still in her mind. Do not play the part she scripted for you. Do not flinch, as Epictetus taught. It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Let her post. Let her wonder why you don't respond. In that wondering, she'll feel the very absence she's trying to deny. Part 3. She asks about you through other people. When her pride won't let her speak to you directly, she finds another path, curiosity dressed as casual conversation. She may ask your friend how he's been, or casually bring your name up in a group. But beneath that surface-level inquiry lies a deeper question. Has he forgotten me? She wants to know if you're suffering in silence, if you've been checking her posts, if your absence is real or just a bluff. She's not asking because she's moved on. She's asking because she's afraid you did. Seneca once said, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." And right now, she's suffering in imagination. She pictured you chasing, waiting, hurting. But when her friends tell her the opposite, that you're calm, unbothered, living, it shatters that vision. And that stings. Because she believed she still had a place in your mind. Now, she isn't so sure. This is where your strength becomes a mirror. Your detachment forces her to confront the gap between who she thought you were and who you've become. A man who no longer clings. A man who no longer needs her validation. Let the whispers spread. Let the questions circle back unanswered. Her uncertainty will do the work for you. In the silence, you remain sovereign. And she, despite herself, becomes the one reaching through the mouths of others. Part 4. She starts running into you. But you know better. You're at your usual coffee shop, and suddenly she's there. Different outfit, same smile. "Oh, wow, what a surprise," she says. But you know, it's not. This isn't coincidence. This is design. When a woman misses you, but can't say it, she lets her body speak where her pride won't. She places herself where she knows. You'll see her glowing, laughing, performing the version of herself she wants you to remember. It's a tactic as old as time, to see if she still moves something in you. But here's where the Stoic differs from the ordinary man. He does not fall into the illusion of fate. He sees the pattern. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Observe what your nature requires, since it is only through acting in accord with nature that you can be in harmony with yourself." She is not acting in harmony. She is chasing a ghost of control. She thought she could walk away untouched, but now your absence lingers in her steps. She retraces them, hoping to reclaim what she once discarded. And yet, your task is simple. Do nothing. Nod, smile, but don't chase. Don't comment on her dress or the timing or the coincidence. Let your calm presence contrast her calculated appearance. That quiet contrast will speak louder than anything you could say. Because when she sees that you've changed, that you are no longer moved, the weight of loss begins to settle in her chest. And that is not cruelty. That is consequence. Part 5. She begins to hint at regret, but not in words you expect. Regret rarely walks through the front door. It creeps in unannounced, dressed in vague phrases and softened tones. When a woman begins to realize she's lost something meaningful, she doesn't always come clean. Instead, she leaves breadcrumbs carefully scattered for you to find. You might see a post, "Some mistakes are lessons we didn't know we needed," or "Everything broken is meant to be thrown away." It sounds general philosophical, but the timing isn't random. The words aren't either. Sometimes it's a memory, a message out of nowhere. "Remember that trip?" She's not asking for nostalgia. She's checking the lock. Does the door to your world still open? And then, when the weight gets heavier, her words shift. She starts to say things like, "I could have handled it better," or "I didn't mean for things to end this way." It's not quite an apology, but it's not nothing. As Marcus Aurelius once said, "Don't waste time debating what a good man should be. Be one." And that includes how you respond to regret. You don't need to punish her, but you also don't need to rescue her from her own reflection. Let her sit in the discomfort of her realization. She's not reaching out because she has found clarity. She's reaching out because she feels the sting of absence, and in that silence, her pride is dissolving. The question isn't whether she regrets it. The question is whether her regret will lead to change, or just another cycle. You remain still, anchored. Let her words pass like wind. They are not yet decisions. They are echoes of the storm she started. Part 6. Her emotions turn unpredictable, but it's not about you anymore. At first, she wore a mask of indifference. She laughed louder, smiled brighter. She acted like the end of you was the start of her. But emotions don't obey pride. They wait. And now, her edges begin to fray. She lashes out at friends. She posts vague sadness late at night. She alternates between silence and subtle jabs. If you cross paths, her tone is cold, maybe even hostile. You might think she's moved on, that she hates you now. But a Stoic knows hatred is not the opposite of love, indifference is. If she truly felt nothing, there would be no games, no glances, no shifts in tone. She wouldn't be trying to stir anything. She wouldn't react. As Epictetus wrote, it is not events that disturb people, but their judgments about them. And her judgment is being disrupted. The silence, once her strategy, has turned against her. She can't read you, and that unsettles her deeply. This emotional turbulence is not about you. It is about the loss of control. She expected you to chase, to crack, to affirm that she still mattered, but you didn't. And now, her pride has no place to hide. So she lashes out, not because she's over you, but because she isn't. Remain unmoved. Not cold, but clear. Her chaos is hers to own. Your peace is yours to keep. Part 7. She returns to old places, but she's not looking for coffee. You walk into that cafe you've always loved, and there she is. Same spot by the window, same look, same pause when your eyes meet. But this isn't coincidence. She's tracing your footsteps, showing up in places that still echo with your presence. Not because she loves the coffee or the atmosphere or the view, but because she's chasing memory. When people long for something they've lost, they don't always chase the person. They chase the feeling, the scent, the sound, the familiar spaces that once held laughter and closeness. As Seneca said, we suffer more in imagination than in reality. And she is now living in that imagination, building stories out of spaces, out of shadows of you. She doesn't want to bump into you by chance. She needs to. But here's the challenge. Will you let that moment dictate your behavior? Will you soften when you see her walk by? Or will you remember what she's actually looking for? She's not seeking reconciliation. She's seeking reassurance. That she still lingers in your world. That your heart still stirs at the sight of her. But your task, once again, is stillness. A nod is enough. A calm glance, no pursuit, no warmth, laced with desperation. The man who does not move at the sound of a ghost. That is, the man who has reclaimed himself. Because when she sees that the past no longer commands you, she is forced to confront what truly remains, the echo of her own choice. And that echo in the quiet can be deafening. Part 8. She begins to show her unhappiness, but only through shadows. At first glance, everything looks the same. She's still posting with friends, flashing that practice smile, laughing in group photos. But the tone begins to shift. The captions grow heavier, the lyrics more longing. A late-night post quoting something like, "You never know what you have until it's gone." No name, no tag. But if you're honest, you know who it's meant for. She won't tell you. She's struggling. She won't admit that the silence is starting to sting. Instead, she lets her discontent bleed out in subtle ways. She shares a photo of the bench where you once sat together. No caption, just the image. A digital breadcrumb designed not to explain but to pull. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking." And yet, her thoughts are no longer enough. They've become restless, loud. She's no longer looking within. She's looking backward. But why now? Because she assumed she would win the silence game. She believed you would break first, that you would chase, reassure, crack. But the longer you remain unmoved, the more her mask wears thin. Her posts aren't signs of healing, they're signals of erosion. And here lies your test. Will you respond to her sadness, or will you trust that it's not your job to rescue someone from the consequences of their own choices? A stoic man does not close his heart, but he does not throw it to the wind either. You can see her pain without absorbing it. You can feel the weight of what once was without letting it pull you back. She's waiting to see if her unhappiness still matters to you. Your silence is the answer she fears most. Part 9. She tries to make you jealous. But it's not confidence. It's desperation. One day, you scroll through your feed and see her shoulder to shoulder with another man. A soft smile. A caption that reads something like, "New chapters." Your stomach drops for a second. That's what it was meant to do. This is no coincidence. She's not over you. She's over being ignored. And now she's reaching for the last card in the deck, jealousy. But don't be fooled. This isn't joy. It's theater. As Epictetus said, he who laughs at himself never runs out of things to laugh at. But she's not laughing at herself. She's trying to control you, trying to make you react, because your calmness has unnerved her. This new man, real or imagined, isn't about connection. It's a performance, a silent message. Look, I can replace you. But if she truly had, she wouldn't need you to see it. So what? Now, most men take the bait. They message. They spiral. They make themselves visible again. And in doing so, hand back their power. Don't. Your indifference is not coldness. It's clarity. You know that value doesn't need to announce itself. And if someone has to provoke to be seen, it means they're no longer truly living. They're performing. Let her post. Let her smile. Let her test the wires to see if your heart still twitches. And let her find silence on the other end. Because that silence will echo louder than any jealousy she tries to conjure. Part 10. She reaches out directly, but this is not the time to fold. After all the subtle games, the cryptic posts, the sudden appearances, she finally sends the message, "Hey, just checking in. How have you been?" Or the oldest move in the book. Oops, wrong person. It's not wrong. It's her pride, waving a white flag. This moment doesn't come easily for her. She's held out, she's resisted. But now, after watching you remain grounded, calm, and beyond her reach, she breaks. But here's what most men misunderstand. They think this is the victory, that her message is a sign to rush back in, to repair, to reunite. It's not. It's a test. She wants to see if you still respond the way you used to, if she still has emotional gravity over you, if her voice still stirs your peace. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, if it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it. So ask yourself, is what you're about to say true, or is it just the need to be seen? Again, responding doesn't make you weak, but how you respond defines everything. If you leap in eagerly, she knows, she still controls the rhythm. But if you remain composed, if your reply is short, polite, and self-contained, you show her what she feared most, that she no longer owns you, owns your inner world. This is not a time to celebrate or attack. It is a time to observe. Let her speak. Let her wonder. You don't need to punish or pursue. You just need to remain whole, untouched by the tides of her return. She cracked. You didn't. And in that truth, the power shifted forever. Part 11. She compares every man to you, but none can measure up when she tries to move on. It seems simple at first. A new face, a new laugh, a new name in her phone. On the surface, it looks like progress, like healing. But deep down, she's not comparing dates. She's comparing depths. With every new man, she carries a quiet measuring stick. His joke's not as sharp. His silence is not as comforting. His presence lacking that unspoken gravity you once held. She notices, not because she wants to, but because she can't help it. As Marcus Aurelius said, the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. And her thoughts are still tinted with you. Even if she's in someone else's arms, her mind drifts to your voice, your rhythm, your way of seeing her. She might deny it to others, even to herself. But comparison is instinct. It's not about finding someone new. It's about trying and failing to forget. She remembers the ease in your conversations, the calm in your presence, the feeling of being understood without explanation. And now, A smile from someone else feels slightly off, slightly forced. The new guy might be trying asking about her day, planning thoughtful gestures, but none of it lands the way it used to. Because connection isn't built from effort alone. It's built from presence. And your presence still lingers, like a shadow she can't outrun. Here's your lesson. You don't need to chase to be remembered. You don't need to prove yourself again. She is doing the remembering for you. Remain grounded. You are no longer competing. You've become the standard. Part 12. She's drowning in the past, but you're already free. When letting go becomes too hard, the mind turns backward, not to find answers, but to escape the present. She scrolls through old photos, replays the videos, smiles at jokes. Only the two of you understood. And in the quiet of her room, she becomes a traveler in memory. Not because she wants to remember, but because she doesn't know how to move forward. A song comes on. She's back in your car. A smell wafts through the air. She's back in your arms. It's not nostalgia. It's a form of emotional time travel, a desperate grasp for something she once took for granted. As Seneca wrote, what we long for often blinds us to what is. And right now, she isn't living in what is. She's stuck in what was. The past has become a trap, a comfortable pain, a place where she still feels your presence, even if it hurts. Because pain, when it reminds us of love, is better than emptiness. This is the point where most men would reach out, thinking they need to comfort her, or that maybe the timing is right. But you are no longer a rescuer. You are not a memory to live in. You are a man moving forward. Let her linger there. Let her realize in her own time that the story she's clinging to no longer holds. You don't need to erase her. You don't need to rewrite anything. You've simply chosen not to drown with her. And that, quietly, is the most powerful ending of all. When a woman misses you, she rarely says it outright. But her actions, her silence, her glances, her sudden appearances speak louder than any words ever could. The key is not to chase, not to react, but to observe. To remain rooted in yourself, unmoved by games, and steady in your purpose. As Marcus Aurelius once wrote, if you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. Learn to see clearly without illusion. If this video gave you clarity, strength, or even just a moment of stillness in your thinking, make sure to subscribe to Stoic for Life. We create content that sharpens your mind and strengthens your heart. The Stoic way. Until next time, hold your center and let them wonder.